quote, "There is nothing the Soviets admire more than strength, and nothing for which they have less respect than weakness." Ladies and gentlemen, what you see before you this afternoon is strength. And there's no question that the Soviets admire and respect the strength of this submarine, the Helena. Thank you very much. Now we are very pleased to have with us a distinguished contingent from the great city of Helena, Montana, the so-called Lewis and Clark country. They're here to help us celebrate this launching of their namesake ship, and we're delighted that they could be with us this afternoon. To represent them, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of Helena, the Honorable Russell Ritter. Welcome to Electric Boat, Mayor Ritter.
Reverend Jane, Admiral and Mrs. Busey and your wonderful family, Senator Dodd, Congressman Gageson, Chairman Pace, Mr. Tovar, and distinguished guests, and especially the members of the USS Helena Association. On behalf of the congressional delegation from Montana, Senators Melcher and Baucus, Congressman Marlene and Williams, and our Governor Schwinden, and all the people of Montana, but especially those of our capital city, Helena, I bring you greetings from the Big Sky country. The opportunity to have a fourth vessel named after my city and our city is somewhat overwhelming, but a tremendous honor, one that we do not take lightly from Montana. A number of you deserve special thank yous, and they're certainly in order at this time to recognize from those of us in Montana making this happen. Certainly those folks from Electric Boat in General Dynamics. Secretary Lehman, our congressional delegation, our governor, the president of the Montana Navy League, Mr. Ward Shanahan, and his wife Gail, who I believe are with us today, along with Mr. and Mrs. Alan Shoemate, a former national director of the Navy League who resides in Helena. And two very special people. One of them is associated very deeply with the USS Helena Association, Mr. Rem Dudley. And another individual, a very special Montanan, Mr. Stanley Kimmett. And additionally, to have Jean Busey to christen this vessel is a double honor, and I want to pay a special tribute to her at this time. From all of us in Montana, especially in Helena. But lastly, and certainly perhaps mostly, to you, the men and women of the United States Navy. You know, your commitment to freedom is well documented in the pages of history. And may the newest Helena, with so proud a name, be a further example to our would-be adversaries that all glory will always fly and freedom will always reign. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ritter. This afternoon, we're very fortunate to have with us a man who has consistently been a very strong and effective supporter of the men and women, the workers here at Electric Boat. A resident of nearby Baldwin for more than 35 years, Congressman Sam Gateson is in his 6th year of service with the House of Representatives. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the Honorable Sam Gateson, United States Congressman from Connecticut's 2nd District.
Thank you. Let me take one moment to thank Stan Pace and Fritz Tovar but really the men and women that work here at Electric Boat for the excellent work that they do. The tough times that we've gone through were successfully accomplished as a result of the excellent work that's done here in this yard and the neighboring facility in Norwich, which we're at this morning. As we dealt with people in the Congress and people in the Navy, what we heard over and over again is of the quality of the product built here at Electric Boat. The pride with which Senator Dodd and I have in representing the people of this shipyard, the ease with which we can represent you is a function of the excellent work that is done here. Today, I am happy to announce that just yesterday, the Navy awarded an additional $17.6 million in contracts to Electric Boat to build a training facility for the Trident project. What we have here is the best year in Electric Boat's history. We have a workforce that is second to none, and a city and state that provides a happy home for the workers of Electric Boat. But recommendation and recognition must go to Stan Pace and Fritz Tovart as well, for there have never been two leaders of this company that it has been so easy to work with and have been so effective in carrying the message and the message of the quality of the product that is being made here today. And for that, I thank you and applaud your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Congressman Gatenson. Those were very warm words. We receive them in the spirit in which they are spoken. We very much appreciate them. And I'm speaking for Fritz and myself and all the workers of Electric Boat. We will not forget them. Thank you. Our next speaker, Senator Christopher Dodd, is also a strong supporter of Electric Boat and the vital work that is performed in this shipyard. Senator Dodd began his Senate service in 1981, following 3 terms in the House of Representatives, and has since served on a continuing basis with dedication and distinction. We're extremely gratified to him for his continuing support of our efforts here, and we welcome him once again to Electric Boat. Senator Dodd.
Thank you very much, Stan, Reverend Clergy, Admiral and Mrs. Busey, Fritz Tovart, of course, Sam, Mayor and Mrs. Ritter, and other distinguished guests here at the dais. I'm truly honored today to be joining with others and participating in this launching ceremony. I must tell all of you, however, I'm quite astonished to know that the Navy would have discovered that the name Helena is the name of my grandmother, the name of my godmother, and the name of my niece. And I appreciate the recognition that they've received here today by having this. I'll also tell you, it brings back some just very fond memories being at this facility. It was 20 years ago about this time that my mother christened the Simpson and sent her down the ways during those days of the extensive building programs. Sam Gatenson has touched upon it. Fritz Tovart wants to launch this ship, so I'm going to be very brief and tell you this. We've been through some dark days here at Electric Boat and General Dynamics over the last several years. And I know it's been tough on everybody. You have to pick up newspapers and hear radio broadcasts and television broadcasts that have been critical. The work here of the corporation. Sam and I have brought up a number of members of Congress, both in the Senate and the House, to meet both labor and management here, the corporate leadership, the people in these communities. And I can tell you today with full assurance that in the Senate of the United States, Electric Boat and General Dynamics are back. The dark days are behind us. And this is a company and a division which every single person associated with it ought to be deeply proud. This is a great yard. It contributes significantly to the defense of this country. There is no program that is more broadly or deeply supported than the submarine program, that third leg of our triad, Republicans and Democrats alike. And there is no yard in this country or in the world which turns out a finer product consistently, year in and year out. And I am proud to be associated with it, and I thank you for inviting me to be with you.
Senator Dodd, Admiral Busey, Mrs. Busey, distinguished platform guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the commander of the command responsible for procuring ships for the United States Navy, I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate you of Electric Boat for your diligence, your craftsmanship, and your professionalism in building this ship. Indeed, in building a number of very fine ships. We in the Navy, in the Naval Sea Systems Command, appreciate your performance on the Navy industry team that produces these fine warships. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present to you our speaker of the afternoon. Admiral Busey is a naval aviator of 34 years service in the U.S. Navy. He has served in both fighter and attack squadrons. He has tasted war. He was awarded the Navy Cross for heroism in his performance in Vietnam. He serves most stably at the present time as the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, one of our significant leaders in the Navy. It's a great pleasure for me to present to you Admiral James Busey, Vice Chief of Naval Operations.
Thank you very much, Admiral Bill Rowden. Mrs. Busey, Senator, Congressman, Mr. Pace, Mr. Tovar, Mayor Ritter, distinguished platform guests, Commander Moore and crew who are above us in Helena, members of the Helena Association, and I'd also like to extend my greetings to the non-visible workforce, the craftsmen here at Electric Boat, many of whom and their families are behind us, out of view, out in the sunshine where they can see Helena as she comes down the ways. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here with you today in Groton, which has contributed so much to our United States Navy. And it's an honor to participate in Helena's launching ceremony, which represents a major milestone in a Los Angeles-class nuclear submarine construction program. This new nuclear submarine behind us represents yet another significant achievement for Electric Boat Division of General Dynamics, for the United States Navy, and for the American people. Helena is an impressive product of the shipbuilder's art, a tribute to the skill of the craftsmen who have built her. Characterized by high submerged speed, increased firepower, major improvements in her combat systems, and ship quieting, she will provide a truly effective counter to any threat that she may encounter. We face a formidable and increasing fleet of new Soviet submarines and ASW forces today. The past 10 years have seen the introduction of 13 new classes of Soviet nuclear submarines. Their new ships are by no means small and inexpensive. They're large submarines with complex and modern combat systems, fashioned from a broad and deep technological base and equipped with a variety of new missiles and torpedoes. Our U.S. submarine fleet is on the front edge, the point of the spear of our maritime strategy. Our submarines are ready to operate on short notice anywhere in the world's oceans in support of our national interests. They're prepared to carry out a wide variety of missions, overtly or covertly. Our submarines respond quickly and operate unsupported in distant areas for extended periods of time. Simply put, our nuclear submarines offer the National Command Authority stealth mobility, endurance, and firepower. This is a fascinating time to be joining the U.S. submarine forces. Our submarines are at a higher state of readiness today than ever before, and their ability to conduct prompt and sustained combat operations at sea in support of national policy has never been better. This is due in large part to the support of the President, the Congress, and the American people. Our recognition of the need for a strong defense has been the key in turning around our weak defensive posture of the 70s. In maintaining undersea superiority, our submarines fill essential roles in elements of our maritime strategy, especially deterrence, forward defense, and taking the fight to the enemy. Our strategic submarine force is the prime contributor to this country's deterrence of nuclear war. Any reasoning enemy of the United States knows that regardless of his capability to strike us, our strategic submarines will retain the capability to strike back and inflict grievous damage, therefore the force of the deterrence. Though not so commonly recognized, are nuclear attack submarines, the point of the spear that I mentioned earlier. They also provide a powerful deterrent to Soviet adventurism or aggression. This potent and capable force serves to convince the Soviets that they could not win a war at sea, and their Navy, although increasingly impressive, would be placed at great risk in any conflict. Through their inherent stealth, unlimited mobility, and impressive firepower, our attack submarines create doubt and uncertainty in the mind of any opponent, and thus provide a significant deterrence. When our SSNs are at sea, the Soviets, or any other potential adversary, must assume that our submarines are nearby and ready for action. No matter how sophisticated the electronics and weapons we build into ships like Helena, a ship is only as effective as the crew that operates her. And over the last few years, we've seen a continual improvement in the quality of sailors entering the fleet. Our best people in growing numbers are deciding to make the Navy a career. Readiness and morale are steadily improving, and the renewed respect and appreciation felt by all Americans for those in uniform is also very apparent. A sense of pride and dignity has been infused into the ranks of our military that is worth more than the most sophisticated of military hardware. Helena is the end product of a very long and complex procurement process, but she is much more to those who will sail in her. The officers and men who will serve in Helena will be called upon to perform difficult assignments. They will work long hours to perfect their skills and keep her readiness levels high. They will be called upon to leave their families for many months at a time, while the responsibility of protecting our nation rests on their shoulders, and the responsibility of keeping the family together rests on their bride's shoulders. They must endure long and difficult missions in distant waters, and every day they must confront the possibility that the routine of a training mission will suddenly become the awful reality of war. If that day should come and Helena must sail in harm's way, I am confident that her stout hull and the skills of her crew will see her through safely, and we can all take justifiable pride in this ship, which will soon join our fleet. Her technical sophistication, firepower, speed, the pride in her complexity and quality. Pride also in her heritage, her name, personifying the self-sacrifice that is honored by us and a grateful nation here today. In so naming this ship, the Navy is honoring the spirit and patriotism of the capital city of Montana and is signaling to those who sail her on distant seas that the qualities expected are the same bravery, dedication, and professionalism exemplified by the 3 USS Helenas that have served before her. And as has been previously mentioned, many of the crewmen of previous Helenas, particularly the one that was sunk during World War II, many of the survivors of that experience are here with us today. So as we work towards our goal of a peaceful, safer world, the commitment that Helena symbolizes is a legacy worth passing on to our children, a legacy of peace through strength. God protect and guide Helena. May she and her crew always enjoy smooth sailing. We all pray that she and her sister ships will serve our nation so well that we never have to fire a shot in anger. Thank you. Thank you very much, Admiral Busey. Now we come to the most important part of today's ceremony. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce the most important person on this platform, our ship's sponsor. Jean Cole Busey is a native of Sydney, Illinois, and attended DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana. Wherever she lived, Mrs. Busey has been heavily involved in community activities. When living in Lemoore, California, for example, she was a deacon in the First Presbyterian Church. She was a member of the choir, and she was a teacher. Today in Washington, Mrs. Busey is serving as a member of the board of the Navy Relief Society and a member of the board of the Navy Wifeline Association. Mrs. Busey is also the mother of 3 children, Angela, Nancy, and James. All of them are on hand today to support their mother in her role as leading lady. We're extremely honored to have her with us today for this chore. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Jean Cole Busey, sponsor of the Helena.
Will the Reverend Jane Quinn please come forward to bless the ship?
Will you pray with me? Eternal Father, we pause to remember that you alone are God. Your arm reaches from the highest heavens to the depths of the ocean floor, yet you are concerned with every detail of our lives, as though each of us were your only child. Today we ask your blessing on the Helena and all who have brought her into being. We remember with gratitude those men who served their country on the previous vessels called Helena. May the survivors and their families, along with the crew of this ship and their loved ones, know your protection and strength in the months and years to come. Bless the city after which the Helena is named and the nation she represents. May those who determine and carry out the Helena's mission seek to secure the peace and well-being of all people on the earth. Amen.
Mrs. Busey will now launch the ship.
In the name of the United States, I christen thee Helena. May God bless her and all who sail in her.
Launch!
my son